All right. What's going on? What's going on?
Hey, we back, man.
Hey, we back tapped
Yes,
in.
sir. Tapped in. No, it's your boy Troy.
It's your boy Sean.
Hey, we tapped in.
We tapped in. We tapped in. Hey, we let it breathe a little bit last week.
Yeah.
We was stuck. I don't know about you, but I was stuck.
Man, there was a lot going on, man. I was in that kitchen, man, chefing.
Yeah, well, me too, man. Me too.
Okay.
I mean, we both had it at our house, man. It's crazy because some people would be like, yo, how many people y'all have at your house? I was like, man, we had like 40, 50 people.
Bro, do you see the pictures, man?
I did.
I had 40, man, I had like 43 people.
43 people?
Yeah.
Man.
And at one point, everybody was there at the same time.
For real?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, ours, like, it was a core that was there from the very beginning. But then, like you had a couple people leave, and then you had a whole second wave come in. Yeah, but it was pretty cool, man. Just to have multiple generations. I'm trying to think, like, so I have my grandma, myself, my aunt. That's 3 generations. My kids, 4 generations. 4 generations in there, man.
Wow, see, and that's what it is, man. That's we talk about that all the time, man. Somebody keeping that glue together, man. And that, my wife and I, man, she wouldn't care if I share this. We work great together, but boy, listen, we be at each other's neck. My turkey is more important than yours at this time, and we going back and forth. But at the end of the night, it's like, baby.
We did it. And see, it's crazy, man, because it's funny how that dynamic works. Because like in my house, we work great together, but I'd be like, yo, man, why you trying to cook all the dishes, man? Like, I cook most of the time during the week, but now it's time to show off. Now you want to do all
you want to shine. You want
to shine. Yeah. So I had to get it. You know what I mean? That took a little while for me to be like, all right, you know what? It's not even about let her cook, man. Just let her cook. You know what I mean? But I do my dishes and stuff like that, which is usually the meats and stuff. But like the sides, I mean, she know what she's doing, man. So I'm gonna just let her. I mean, they tell me they could tell when she make the cornbread and when I make the cornbread. So it's like, you know what? I'm gonna let her do her thing.
I tell you what, man, I had that most critical dish, man, on my plate, man.
What was that?
But the turkey's always critical, but that mac, man.
Yeah, that mac and cheese.
I had to whip the mac, boy.
You whipped it up?
Yeah, I whipped it.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all heard that, right? I whipped the mac.
That's Mrs. Stewart in our house. She do the mac and cheese. I mean, and the kids is the biggest critique.
You can't miss on that, man.
Man, they let her know, man. Hey, you was off today.
Yo, so
she wasn't off this Thanksgiving, but like throughout the year, she might do a little something different. And they be like, nah, I like the way you do it better. So even my little 5-year-old. So, what you put in this one?
So we had a Friendsgiving a few years back, and they asked me to bring the mac, and I decided to try something new. I talked to you about this. I tried something new, and listen, it didn't go right. I almost wanted to drop it on the way out in the house in front of them.
I'm like, I'm sorry.
Man, listen, when you see people start putting the napkin over it, or when you got to take half the pan home, it's like, man, I failed.
Yeah. You ain't make the cut. You did not make the cut. You did not make the cut. Hey, amongst other things, I mean, we had all of those things, but it was a rough day, man.
Yeah. Well, for the Ravens fans,
Eagles too.
Man, that's a sore subject right now, man.
Man, I'm like, yo, we just get ready to put ourselves in
playoff position. Yeah.
I mean, now it's outside factors and stuff that play a role.
The Bills helping y'all out though.
They are. The Chiefs are too, though.
Yeah, they help me out.
Right now, we look okay for a wild card spot. But I mean, I think we're only a half game out of first place.
Yeah.
And it's always gonna be a dogfight when we play Pittsburgh, so that's a game right there.
Yeah.
I mean, we just gotta keep the main thing. And I don't know if my boy hurt. Just something don't look right, man.
Yeah.
It looked like he's regressed.
Well, that's the thing that I tell everybody, man. You can't defy Father Time, man.
I think he's only 27,
right, but if you're gonna do it, he should have did it in his earlier seasons, man. That's different when you getting beaten, banged up, man, and he's coming back. When you come back off an injury, it's mental.
Yeah, but I mean, aside from Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes,
man,
everybody else ain't start winning championships. Said it was like 30.
Right. Because you're right.
Yeah, I mean Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, John Elway.
But see, all of them you name it, they're not running quarterbacks either. They're not taking that same type of, you know what I mean?
Those hits.
Yeah, those hits. And I think those hits play in your mind, man. Because a lot of times I'll be like, yo, he better get out. And it's like I don't think he wants to be known as what you just said. You know what I mean? Like a running quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to be known as that pocket passer. And I think, you know what, I think what happened last year with Jaden Daniels and how good he looked in the pocket, how well he was able to throw, man. And that was his first year. And that's the first time I've ever seen that. Yeah. That's the first time I've ever seen a rookie look that poised and that.
The first time? Yeah, you see that with Jalen, man?
No, not like that.
Come on.
Not man. Like, man, it's not even
come
close,
on,
man. It's not even close, man. It's like that mac and cheese you failed on, man. It's like that mac and cheese you failed on.
My boy can't get no love, man. Yo, he's a solid quarterback, man. I think our offensive coordinator, man, is really doing us a injustice right now, man, for real.
Right.
Yeah, it's bad, man, but they're placing the blame on, Jalen, but he's going to run the plays. He's going to do what you tell him to do, man. If it don't make sense, I got a job to do still. You know what I mean?
So if they win, it's the team. If they lose,
he got to put it on his shoulder.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think we had I'm still standing on we have a playbook that's yet to be discovered, and you'll see it in playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess you're gonna make it to the playoffs.
Oh, definitely come on, man. You definitely make it to the playoffs. Yeah.
All right. Well, cool, man. So we appreciate y'all tapping in with us. Like we said a couple of weeks ago, we got a special guest coming in. Dr. Aaron Green. He's a emergency room doctor. He also does a lot of traveling, does a lot of philanthropic work, here and abroad. And just a great wealth of knowledge. And, I think, his experiences and travels and the things that motivate him and the things that he's pursuing, I think can be encouraging to anybody. I can't say about anybody, but I know certainly with me and the time that I spent around him. And I know when you went to Africa with him, you was like, man, immediately, man, when you get around this guy, you gonna like him,
man. I mean, just, man, awesome personality, man. Just all around great guy, man.
Right.
All around great guy.
Right. No and totally down to earth will introduce himself as, Aaron.
Yeah.
Man, you're a full doctor.
Yeah.
That's it. So that just says a lot about the character. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to bring him up here. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hold on. Did you say something, Dr. Green?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me? I'm delighted to be on episode 56 of Tap In.
Hold on, I gotta edit the mic. Can you hear us?
I can hear you clearly.
Hear me? Say something for me.
Yes, sir. Episode 56 of Tap In 2025.
Hold on 1 second. something again.
Yeah, I think you and Troy have something very special here, man. This Tapped In is awesome. I've enjoyed the session I've heard so far. This is special, man. This is really special.
Cool.
Thank you. Thank
you.
How you doing? Good to see you again, Dr. Green.
Really, you as well. You as well, brother. It's really good to see you both. And
well, cool. So what? The reason why I thought this would be you'd be a good person to talk to is just your story in general. You're a doctor here locally. I tell the story all the time. When I was growing up here in this area, I went to doctors up until I was probably about 23, 24 before I ever had a black doctor. And, so for me growing up here, it was almost something that it wasn't like I didn't think I could do it. It's just I never saw it. So like to be able to now as an adult be around somebody who, has done this as a profession for many, many years, I just think it would be good just to, kind of hear your perspective, a little bit about your journey, how you ended up here on the Eastern Shore. And kind of what drives you, and your passion. So we'll appreciate you coming on here and being a part of this conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, thank you both for having me. And I noticed I've missed 55 segments of the show. Today is being 56. I'll definitely be tapping in again. So thank you. So no
problem.
Yeah.
So I know when we were together, one of the things that we talked about. So I guess let's take a step back. I know that you're an emergency room doctor now, but tell us a little bit about the journey, how you got here to the Eastern Shore.
Sure. So I grew up actually on the West Coast, and from there I ended up going to school at Howard. So when I got to Howard, I met my to-be wife, Vonda, and she was from the Eastern Shore. So she lives in Salisbury. And it was through her that I learned about the Eastern Shore. I had no idea the Eastern Shore. So we would come down because we were in med school together, and she would invite me down, and I met her parents and just fell in love with them and her, and then ended up we married, and then we actually relocated to Delaware after we got married. So married in Baltimore, and then came down to the Eastern Shore, and have been here ever since. And it's such an easy place to raise children, and it's just so laid back. It just kind of grew on us.
Wow. Awesome. I know it was a bit of a culture shock coming from the West Coast to here.
It was. Yeah, definitely. The only thing that was similar was having the water on the east, the West Coast and East Coast. But other than that, it was, the options were different. But it was something about being able to get away to Baltimore or get away to DC, New York, and come back that kind of made it work, because we could still do some of those things. So it kind of made it work out.
So I talked a little bit about, not seeing, very many, black doctors when I was growing up. What was some of the motivation for you to get into medicine? Yeah.
So as a young fella, I was fortunate to have a mother who saw a doctor. My mother had breast cancer, and Dr. Avery, her doctor, was a brother. And then my father had prostate cancer, and the urologist that he saw was a brother on the West Coast. And then my oldest brother, saw Dr. Wright, who was kind of the community doctor. And he had diagnosed me before going on a camping trip of having a condition of an undescended testes. So I met him, and he was very influential. So I kind of had the benefit of seeing some black doctors at an early age, and that kind of solidified it. Although my dad kind of had a different idea for me. He'd always talked about engineering, so he had pushed his idea of engineering. Wow. So I ended up going to Tuskegee in engineering, but my passion, I think, was medicine. So I eventually got on that pathway.
Yeah. Okay, so you started off at Tuskegee University?
Yeah, went to Tuskegee.
Okay, so that's where you got your undergrad from?
Yeah, stayed there and did finished undergraduate, and stayed actually in grad school for 2 years until Howard said that I would, in order to matriculate in their medical school, I had to come in the summer because I was a different major. So they allowed me to come in the summer back of '85, and then I went, and then from there it was on. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, so you had mentioned earlier that you had met your wife in med school.
Mm-hmm. I did.
So your wife is a doctor as well?
Yeah, she's a family practitioner, and was able to do that and raise 2 kids and as well. So she's yeah.
Yeah, so that's the first thing that comes to mind for me is like, how does that work?
How
man?
how were you guys able to find that balance with having such demanding careers and still raising the kids? I mean, I know that had to be challenging.
I have to give Vonda the credit because she's the one that kind of took the path of willingness to take half-time work and half-time parenting, and really a lot of times it was more parenting than not. So she was the one who sacrificed her career path to kind of give them that stability at home, and I'm so glad she did, because I don't think things would have worked out quite as well had she chose to just totally career.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I appreciate that backstory. So you and I, and actually Troy, we all met kind of the same way, doing mission trips in Africa, and then from talking to you, you got a very extensive travel itinerary. So tell us a little bit about that, your passion and your love for just travel in general.
Sure. Yeah. We both enjoy that. So Vonda and I, we did this trip back, and while we were residents at Franklin Square Hospital, we got approval to do one of our rotations in Africa. So we went to Kenya with a couple that the fella had done his residency a year earlier and had finished. And we got permission from the dean to be able to go to Africa and Kenya. So we went together and served in Kenya. And I mean, that just lit a fire in me for Africa. I think just the beauty of it, and just, and the people, and from there, wow, I've, been able to, been to, Ethiopia, been, to Benin, Ghana, of course, and Morocco, Egypt, South America, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, and hope to see more of sub-Saharan Africa, in the future. But that really kind of what our appetite for Africa.
Wow, wow, that's a lot of places that you ran off there. Would you say that's your favorite continent to visit, or just a world traveler in general?
Well, I like Europe, but I definitely have to say that I love Africa and the people, and I just find it to be, when I'm there, I just feel like I'm at home, and I just feel really welcomed and so forth. So it's made it a lot easier to think about going to places in Africa. Not that I want to exclude the rest of the world, because I've got a little wish list of some other places I want to go, because I've never been to like that Cambodia, Thailand, area. So definitely want to hit that at some point soon. But Africa will probably be intermittent throughout those other travels. So still be going back.
Layover somewhere there. I mean, I'd love to go to all of those places, but I'll be honest with you, man. I mean, it didn't bother me, but it would be so much easier if it wasn't such a long flight.
Right. Oh, boy. Yeah. Do you ever get used to that flight?
Yeah, gosh, I can't honestly tell you that I do, because at some point I always ask myself, man, how did what made me decide to do this? Because those flights, no, man. Yeah.
Cool. So you mentioned one place, which is a place that we went to together this is about a month ago, right? Yeah, last month. Yeah. Rwanda. And you're a doctor here, but you're heavily involved in a clinic that just opened up there. With some of the philanthropic work that you've done, but there was something else that you actually done that I was super impressed by. The philanthropic stuff was great, but there was another thing that you did, and I'd like for you to just touch on that and to tell us why that was so important for you to do as far as your medical credentials.
Mm-hmm. And what was that specifically that you had in mind?
You getting credentialed and to be able to practice medicine in Rwanda.
Sure. Yeah, no, that, and you know what? That process, you believe it or not, it was more rigorous than re-credentialing here in some ways. I mean, their process for validating, it goes all the way back. I had to go back to undergrad and provide documents and equivalencies. I mean, they were really strict about that process. But what I wanted to be able to do was to practice there legally, with the, the Ministry of Health support, that they were behind me and being able to do it. And that way, not only would I be participating and helping to get a clinic, but to be able to actually see people. And now the real goal behind it is now to be able to have other clinicians to rotate through the clinic. Now that I am licensed there, I can now leverage that credentialing to be able to have someone. In fact, in February, there's a Kevin Mall and his daughter are going to be going there, and because I'm credentialed, I can allow that to happen, kind of under our license, so to speak. So the idea is to have other people be able to rotate through and try to create that model in other places if possible.
So what was it about Rwanda that made you want to not only invest your money, but invest your talent, your skill set to a place so far away? I mean, there's a lot of countries that you named that you have been to, but what was it about that place that you really kind of gravitated towards?
And that's a great question, Sean. I think my first experience there, and I only knew about it because of Pastor Vince. Pastor Vince had been there, and he kept telling me, man, you got to come and check out, Rwanda. We had done some things in Haiti, we'd done some things in Ghana and Benin, but he mentioned Rwanda all the time. So when I finally was able to get there, I immediately felt this sense of organization, of safety, of cleanliness, of structure. And that just really kind of impressed me that they were there, for the long haul. There wasn't like in some other countries where you go, you can just see that just the infrastructure isn't being maintained, and they take such detail, and the people are so bright. They speak in multiple languages, and they have such high aspirations that it became kind of contagious to me. I said, wow, these folks, they really want to move forward. So to be a part of that has been a real beautiful thing. Really, it's been a beautiful thing to be a part of something where people are growing. They're not content on just maintaining. They want to grow and do better. I think when we were there, you remember when we saw the drones that were delivering medications to different medical facilities, and the roads are nice and clean, and even check your speed. You know what I mean? You gotta be driving right, because you're gonna. So there's a lot of protective things there that make you feel comfortable and safe. And in fact, I think we need to invite Troy.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm definitely that's on my list. That's on my list. I'm definitely going to try to get there.
Yeah, it's crazy because I even forgot about that. Like when I was telling you stuff there, they have these like standalone monitoring systems. Sometimes sometimes they were built in the ground, like kind of concrete cylinder monuments. And they actually track your speed. So they tell you what the speed limit is. And if you speed past one of them, you can get a ticket. But the other thing is they got these portable ones that they would move different places. So you really wouldn't see people speeding like that because they know they would get a ticket in the mail.
Wow.
It was crazy. And for me, my only history of Rwanda was, the genocide that happened, in the 1990s?
94,
1994. And, just to go there and just to see the evolution and where they are today that's amazing. It's amazing.
So, Dr. Gray, I do have a question though, because I know you spent a great deal of time in Ghana. We was there together, and I didn't get to see Rwanda, but just seeing the two and hearing you guys describe it, like, what would you say is the biggest disparity between the two? Like,
that's a great question. I think the big kind of from the macro point of view is that you can see from a government standpoint that resources are trickling down to the people in Rwanda, whereas in Ghana, there's pockets where you wonder where the government is, where how are the people making it, because you don't see that infrastructure, kind of taking care of them. Another big difference is that in Rwanda, everyone is speaking Kinyarwanda. So no matter where you go, everybody is speaking the same language, so they can coordinate things, organize things, they can get word out, and they can just jump on things really quickly because they have one language. Whereas in Ghana, literally you can go from one tribe and go a few miles down the road, and they're not speaking the same language. If you have an interpreter, they can't interpret. They got to find somebody else. So you can see how that's disjointed, and it kind of creates a difficult thing for communication. That's one. But from a resource standpoint, man, Ghana has tons of resources. It's got gold, it's got chocolate, it's got minerals and rare earth. It has a lot, but the governance of it is bad. In fact, the other big difference between those two countries is that in Ghana, about a third of their gross national product goes to service their debt, which you can see how that hampers healthcare, education. So a lot of the resources that normally would be utilized for those things are going to service their debt. Whereas in Rwanda, they've managed their debt situation. Not that they don't have some, but it's not out of control.
Right.
Okay. And as far as I think the one of the last things I wanted to touch on as far as is Africa goes. I know you do a lot of philanthropic things here locally, but why is it so important for you to want to give back to those countries that you visited?
Sure. Yeah. I think was it Shirley Chisholm or someone who said that service is kind of the debt that we pay for living on this earth. I think she said something to that effect. But I think that being able to serve, knowing the history, the colonization, and realizing, that they've been kind of at a point of disadvantage for long periods of time. So to be able to help establish some infrastructure where they're more self-sustainable is really the goal. Although we do it as a missions kind of a thing, but it's always the underlying theme is to try to get them to have a self-sustaining thing. If it's in healthcare, trying to pull in local healthcare providers to work with us hand in hand. And if it's like buying medicine, instead of bringing it, buy it from them so that we can stimulate their economy that way, or hire some people. So that's been the mission, but there's also so much opportunity there. I serve, but I really believe like part of our portfolio should be there as far as it is. But I would say, even if it's just a small percentage, just having some percentage of our portfolio, given the historical context and watching it develop, I would advocate for people trying to find opportunity to do that. And in both of the countries, both that we've just named, Ghana, there's lots of opportunity. I would love that'd be a whole nother segment, but we could just explore some of the opportunities that exist as far as the portfolio.
Okay. And so, Dr. Green, just to put it into context, when you're speaking of portfolio, what exactly are you talking about? Because there might be some people that might hear or see this, and they might not exactly know what you mean.
Okay, sure. So if we look at, just say, Ghana, the agricultural industry, the soybean, the maize, rice, there's land that can be purchased, and then the hire workers to do the development of the planting, harvesting, and taking it to market. And now I work with Pastor John. They're doing a similar project. There's land that's available, and it's relatively cheap. There's opportunity for dormitory, hotel, and if people love the educational sector, for private schools there for that. So there's a lot in the service industry and in the agricultural industry for investment, opportunities there. And in Rwanda, I would say it's equally, they're wide open for encouraging, and they have policies that make it sort of advantageous to consider it, and how they do it. They just, if you get too big, they just want to make sure you employ some people from those countries respectively. You have to have Rwanda, as a protective mechanism, but the sectors are open, and in Rwanda, gosh, the hotel industry, like in the area we were in, Kibeho, and those areas that are developing, where the church is coming, or the people, the tourism, and so yeah.
Isn't that where you lost your soul at?
That's right. That's right.
That's a little inside joke.
That's inside joke, man. Shoe was flopping.
The sole of his shoe came off.
Oh boy!
And he made a joke and said, "I lost my soul in Kibeho." Yeah, so that was good. But the other thing that stood out to me, and why I asked you to kind of expand on that investment part of it, is that you realize how much further your dollars can go there.
Oh yeah.
You know, even, with the opportunity when we were there doing the clinic, there was people that couldn't get medications, and, being able to come up with money that can get medications for, 100 people, with money that you actually just had it walking around in your pocket. I mean, it makes you feel like, man, there's so much here that I could do if I was intentional about it, or if I knew I knew the need. So I think you don't see those things, you don't find those things out until you're actually there, or you've been around somebody who's been there and like, hey, look, this is what we're doing. These are the people that we help, and this is how you can be a part of it. But it's good to be able to do that. We do that all the time here from afar, but when you can go there and you actually see, what your contributions are really doing for people, it's almost, I'm not gonna say like a drug, but it's like, man,
it motivates you.
Yeah,
it motivates
you. Yeah, it motivates you to want to do more, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. So you touched on a little bit earlier, Doc, when when you were kind of giving us your your story about coming here, and both you and your wife being doctors, and you raising a family. And so one of the things that we always like to do is if somebody young and they're thinking about starting a family, or maybe they're in college and they think about what's the next steps for them, is what kind of qualities do you think it's important for a young man to be looking for if he's at the stage in his life and that he's thinking about, hey, I want to maybe settle down and start to have a family? Because we as men, we physical creatures, and the first thing that attracts us is the eyeball.
We want to see it.
You want something to make you feel good when you look at it. So but outside of that, what type of qualities do you think that you saw in her that made you think that she would be willing to make that sacrifice when it came time to make it to start a family?
Yeah, I like that word sacrifice that you mentioned. And I think it was looking at the things that impressed her, the people that she looked up to, and the things that she valued kind of told me that. And two, kind of a cherry on top was her family. She really came from a really good family. You could just tell that the values and ethics were intact when I would go, and visit them, just the way that they treated me, and that it made a really big difference. But I would say her heart is probably, she always revealed to me that she had a heart for those that were either disabled or didn't have, like the poor. And to this day, she's always pouring into the needy, and working with those that are kind of out of position, to try to help them, be it women, mentoring women, or be it in a medical setting. She's always had a heart for helping people. And I think that's a lot of what, attracted me to her. So I would say to a young guy that I would try to find out, what does she admire? What does she look up to? Is it, is she admiring people that are worthy of that? Or is she, and how does she treat people that don't have, and they don't have that? That would be important to me to know how, because like you said earlier, the beauty can take us but so far, just like talent. Athleticism will take us so far, but until we're willing to, put some work into it, you're not going to make it. So but the heart is definitely, and if she, and I would love to know that they have somebody that also is aligned with God, that looks to a higher power than themselves, because at some point we're going to disappoint each other, and if we don't have that intermediary, that belief, that God is there, then marriage is subject to be compromised if we don't have that power. Because if we're not willing to accept that it's not all about us, it's
right.
shaky. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Right. And that's a real gem right there. And I like the first part of that when you started off, the things that they're impressed by. I mean, that's something you can sit back and observe that. That's not something you have to poke and pry a lot. You can kind of just over spending time with somebody to see where the admiration lies. I think that's a real gem. That's a really good one.
It is. And if you looking at this and it's like, well, what does that mean? It's like, okay, if somebody's admiring somebody who's has a lot of stuff and doing a lot of trips and being real flashy, or like things that aren't of any substance,
it's materialistic.
It's materialistic base. That's a good indicator of what they're interested in. But as as Doc said, if this person is infatuated by being able to help the least of those, and being able to, because a lot of times it'll be things. So like for me, there's things that my wife is just naturally attracted to, like as far as young kids, little kids, and making sure that they're good. And she has a way to be able to relate to them that is something that I didn't necessarily have. I got along well with kids always liked me, but just her attention to detail, and just getting down on their level, that's something that was inspiring to me. And so I think that's another thing that when you're looking to be with somebody, what are the qualities that they possess that inspire you to be a better person?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. That's good.
So, Dr. Green, I do have a follow-up question to what Sean asked. So, as a young person, let's say from a college level, and that ambitious, and you're working toward your career goals, at what point would you advise somebody to even consider looking to get into a more serious relationship? Like, because I know that's always a balance type thing,
Sure. I think that's a great question. Well, I think, there was an old preacher, he once said that romance with no finance is a bad chance. So I think people have to try to get some kind of stability in their life too, where they can kind of see the path, forward. They can afford that as well, but not just about the money, but also I think I wouldn't stay in a situation where I'm, how they say, if you're burning up, if you're in a situation where you just are kind of putting yourself out there and not really kind of being a good steward of your body and not taking care of yourself, I don't think that's a good time too. Until the person starts willing to take care of themselves and do the things that require them to take care of self well, because they don't want somebody trying to take care of them. We're not trying to get into a situation where we need somebody to care for us. We want to be able to be as independent as we can. I think, was it Sean, you told me, I think that your mother, someone told me that they prepared them pretty good to be able to cook and do some things on their own and be able to kind of, so from a young man's standpoint, I think I would like them to have some ability to, feel like he can do things without necessarily, even though they complete us, but at the same time, not that, we're not looking for another mother, so
correct.
Right. So it's interesting. You said you said something, about taking care of your body, and that's one of the things when I came home that, of all the things that you done and I observed you and things like that, I was like, man, when we were traveling, our first layover was in Doha. We didn't have that much time. It's 5 of us. Dr. Green, as young as he looks, he was he walked the fastest out of all of us.
I see it firsthand, running through the airport.
Yeah. And so like you're one of the things that I didn't know about you that I learned while I was there was that you're pretty much vegan. I know you said you eat some fish, here and there, but with taking care of your body, this isn't a question that I planned to ask or anything like that, but it was something that was actually inspiring to me, was just seeing you at your young age, how well you're able to move, how well you're able to get around, and just how, how good a shape you in.
Oh, yeah.
What was the reason behind you making that lifestyle change?
Yeah, I just seem to have seen that there was some connection between my consumption and my energy and my mood and my thing. And as I started playing around with it, I could just tell that when I ate certain things, more of it, I seemed to have less energy and I wasn't as focused. And I prefer to be focused. You know how some people say they don't want to take medicines because they don't want to have that sluggish mindset, or you want to be in control, right? And I just find that certain, food sort of allowed me to have that kind of energy and spirit. And that was a big part of it. It's just kind of making that correlation. It's food is medicine, sort of.
Okay.
Good stuff.
That's good stuff. Good stuff.
And as you can see, I'm still working on that 20, man. You told me
okay,
about.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I know you said you wanted to, was there something real estate related that you wanted to talk about? We talked about a little bit before you got on here.
Well, we was talking about the importance of the emergency fund, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
So go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, that's not really real estate related, but just altogether, how important is it do you think, to have an emergency fund, as a couple and as a family, and what should that emergency fund look like? Like, how far should it take you? And
Yeah, that's a great question, I think, because, there used to be that people would tell you to have at least enough for 3 months, but in the economy that we're dealing with now and the uncertainties that we have, it seems like it makes more sense to extend that period to at least 6 to 9 months, like to have a period of time that's longer than 3 months, because we don't know that things can recover, that quickly. So I think having that nest egg to be able to just not worry, not have to put your family through the worry of what's going to happen, to try to build up that. And that would be even good for the young folks we were talking about earlier, that to be able to, as part of their marriage plan, to have that little cushion, there. But that's a really important thing, I think.
Very important.
And I think, just to piggyback off of that, the reason why that is so important is because when things, when you are in a flight or fight mode, it doesn't allow you to be able to think at your best, right? Because you're reacting to everything that's going on around you. And, they really don't tell you the psychology around, having, 3 months saving, 6 months saving, a year's worth of saving. But the psychology behind it is that the fact that you can operate on a daily basis without that pressure, that sense of pressure, that you got to make something happen. Because when you operate out of that, you're gonna make some bad decisions. 2, you may put yourself in situations where you might be compromising your own integrity because you're trying to make up for what you don't have. And it allows you to be able to just kind of operate from a free mind and be able to keep your intentions, keep your moral compass, keep your integrity, so that, I'm not saying that you won't do that if you don't have it, but it's a lot easier when you don't have to worry about, if I don't get this deal done, or I don't get you get laid off, and if I don't have a job next month, how am I going to make the bills? How am I going to make it happen? When you don't have to worry about that, it allows you to be able to kind of think freely and
to be more intentional. And you won't settle.
Right. You won't settle for less.
Amen.
So cool. So Dr. Green, we appreciate you. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about or share?
Well, I'm just grateful for the opportunity and to be able to have this time, to spend with you two. I really, really enjoyed it a whole lot, and definitely would love to be back one day and talk again. So I enjoyed my time, and I'm trying to think if there's any parting words I would share, just other than I hope you guys continue to do this. I hope this isn't something that is just a fad. I hope it continues because this I can see where it could be very beneficial to others. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate you.
Yes,
We thank you. You know, and again, everybody, this is Dr. Aaron Green, a local doctor here in Delaware, in Kent County. And so we appreciate your time, and you enjoy the rest of the evening, sir.
Thank you.
Have a
Appreciate
great evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right. So as always, man, good conversation. You know, had the good doc on, and you know, talked about a lot of good stuff, man.
A lot of good stuff, man.
A lot of good stuff, man.
And I didn't really get to tell him, but his impact, man. I mean, just for us being in his presence for that amount of time that we shared with him was impactful. But to see his impact over there, man. I mean, his name was a household name in Ghana. Like when he walked, Dr. Aaron Green, Dr. And man, that did so much for me to see that.
And it was the same way in Rwanda, man. Same exact thing. I mean, a guy from right here, you know, locally, you know, who's man, and just so humble, man. So humble, man. You wouldn't even know, you know, and some of the things that we talked about, I wouldn't even bring up because I know that, you know, that's not who he is, but I mean, just the impact that he has, not only just here, but, you know, abroad is, you know, is something to be, you know, applauded. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, as you get older, you find, you know, you have your peers that, you know, they might be doing something that inspires you, but, you know, at our age, to be able to look ahead and be like, yo, man, like,
it's a pace card. That's
the pace card. It's like, man, 20 years that I could be doing that.
Yeah.
You know, and I ain't want to say his age, man. Dr. Green looked good for his age.
He's youthful, man. And he has that youthful spirit, man.
He does, man.
Yeah,
he does, man. Just inspiring all together, man. So as always, man, we appreciate y'all locking in with us. You know, we back on track. We gave y'all a little turkey break.
Yeah,
but we back tapped in.
No doubt.
Back tapped in. So we appreciate y'all. As always, like, comment, share, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Hey, you know, we enjoy y'all being here with us.
No doubt. Stay tapped in.
Peace.